Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly bump. And I know it's like right smack dab in the middle of the monthlies, but I still wanted to do it anyway. I'm super excited actually for this week because I did spend some time thinking about 2019 because intuitively I have this thing that's like this stuff that we're dealing with now is all building up to 2019. And 2019 is going to be an amazing transformative year, but in a positive, not necessarily so heavy kind of way. It's not transformative the way 2016, 2017 was. And this is kind of 2018 seems to be like this sort of preparation year, a transitory year, a year that's kind of meant to prepare us for 2020, 2021, 22. And the big kind of shebang is really when Pluto enters Aquarius in 2023. And for me, the Pluto entering Aquarius is going to kind of be the pinnacle, defining era of many of our lifetimes because it's like the age of Aquarius is truly here at that time. And consciousness and spirituality is going to just hit the world by storm. And I think this is my opinion, right? This is my kind of intuitive sort of feelings where consciousness is going to become more and more important. Organized, institutional religions, things like that are going to start really taking a hit in many ways. And it is the power of the individual for the sake of the collective. It is a unifying energy for the global community. There's all those Aquarian themes that come with that too, including like extraterrestrials and other worlds and outer space and space exploration and all this stuff that's going on about, you know, the secret space program. Like, I really think a lot of that stuff, this thing that people are fighting for full disclosure, is really going to come to light. And people's spirituality is going to be like, holy cow, I didn't know consciousness was such a thing. I didn't know consciousness was so important. And hopefully, over the course of the next 5 and 6 years, the conscious community is just going to continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And the people who are conscious now are the people that are the pioneers. You know, they are the explorers. They are the Lewis and Clark, if you will, of the New World Revolution. Okay, so 2018 is kind of a limbo year, good things, bad things, changing things. We're working our way through things, we're dealing with things, we're clearing out our karma to kind of prepare for all this stuff. And so that's what I'm going to talk about kind of later. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, these are collective consciousness readings, these weekly bumps. I don't do per sign. It's just kind of tapping into the energies that are at play today, here and now, for like the next week or so. And it's just kind of more of like a chatting and putting your thoughts out there. And I do like to interact more on the weekly bumps for some reason with comments and stuff. I don't quite know why. I think they're just more personal topics to me, so I interact more. Let's go ahead and talk about the Mars retrograde that everyone is talking about. It's not just me, every astrologer, tarot card reader, yada, yada, yada. We're all talking about it because it is an interesting time. It's happening in the sign of Aquarius, which is all about that high-mindedness. There is a spiritual component with Aquarius as well. There's a consciousness component. There's also still with the South Node kind of still being on the docket there. As we're working our way into Leo season at the end of July, we've got the eclipses coming online with Mars. So, you know, the Mars retrograde really, really is not a time to overreact. It's not a time to be aggressive at all. It's not a good time for projection of judgments or anything like that. It's a time to be contained. It's a time to be diplomatic. It's a time to be present. And to be, and people had a hard time with this last week, I think, when I was like, don't hoard your energy, don't hoard your time, you know, be generous with your time. And the reason why I said that is because it is through the process of service, it is through the process of giving that we do learn more about ourselves. And while I don't, recommend going out there and starting new big things and, changing your life in a huge kind of way, it doesn't mean to be lazy. Even though Mars retrograde can make us feel more tired and kind of like, I just want to stay in. And, that Mars energy can be used in meditations. It can be used in, again, caring in a more loving, more nurturing kind of way. It doesn't have to be out there in the world, going out there and being competitive. That's not what it's about. It's kind of more the opposite of that. Okay, so we had a couple cards come out. King of Cups, and the Ace of Coins. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold like you would not believe. I'm trying so hard not to get more sick, so loading up on vitamins and all that, but my nose is still, so let me just grab a sip of tea. King of Cups is a Scorpio quality, and because Mars is a ruler of Scorpio, I think Scorpio is kind of coming online, okay? We've got Jupiter going direct as well, and the spiritual component is very much there. See, the Aquarius Scorpio energy, they have a very interesting relationship. I kind of think, this is just me, okay? This is not an astrology thing, it's just me. I think of Aquarius as the mind of Scorpio. That Scorpio very much has an Aquarian mindset. It has this sharp intellect, intelligence kind of thing. And so when we kind of mix those two energies together, we have an extremely powerful, unstoppable force. We were thinking of Mars and Pluto for Scorpio, we're thinking of Uranus for Aquarius. And I mean, you mix the power of these three planets together and it's like, holy cow, look out, there's a storm, And that storm, I think, is happening internally. I really, really do. Like I said, it's not a time for material manifestation. It's not a time to be worried about what the outside world is giving you. This is about what you are creating in the outside world by how you are positioning your inside world. It's about the inside, it's not about the outside, okay? It's about your mind, it's about your heart, it's about the alignment of your soul. And our soul's alignment is so critical right now. Again, building up to this Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the beginning of 2020, it's so important. I cannot stress the importance, because a Saturn-Pluto conjunction can rip our worlds apart if we're not sure of what our world is, or we're not sure of what it really consists of. If our world is made up of an illusion, that illusion just comes and can be completely shattered. When we have the crystallized illusion, crystallized being Saturn, and the destructive power of Pluto, that illusion just gets shot to shit, right? Just. But if our world is made up of something real, our consciousness, our heart space, that is unbreakable, it's unbending, because it is aligned in truth. Mars retrograde is a time to discover the inner world more, even more, because there's never an end point. We can never know everything. The only time we're ever going to know everything is that time when God or Source or the All reabsorbs all of us, and we are no longer taking on this kind of independent sort of form, right? The only time we'll ever have all the answers. Even in the Kabbalion, it talks about the archangels, the highest of the high, just 1 or 2 degrees of separation from the All. Even they have this continual searching quality. The searching never ends. The searching never stops. And that's an important thing, actually, with the quality of desire that we all do have. And it's interesting that the Scorpio card comes out, because if anyone understands desire, it's Scorpio, right? If anyone understands desire, it's the depth, the intensity, and the obsessiveness of Scorpio. And The desire can be redirected. If it's directed toward material things, toward a person, you know, toward kinds of things that are illusionary, that does not work in our favor. But if we redirect or rechannel that desire toward knowledge, toward wisdom, toward understanding of self and consciousness, then that's when we step into a power and a mindset where these big transits just don't affect us. You know, we are literally stepping off the roller coaster and just watching everyone else like up and down and loop-de-loops and all around, and you watch the world and it just kind of passes you by. It's a man on the mountain quality. Okay. Queen of Pentacles coming out, beautiful for the Capricorn and the Cancerian qualities that are on the docket as well. Sun today opposing Saturn. Sun today opposing Saturn. And Six of Cups. It is a time when people resurface, no question in my mind, and that's been coming out like crazy with the monthlies, the 5 monthlies that I've done. And then we also are getting Justice. So these are the cards come out, okay? 5 of Coins, excuse, that's not even a thing. I don't know why I just said that. Queen of Coins is stable, she is grounded, she is unfazed. And in a material sense, because I'm talking about material stuff, she too understands the essence and the need for nurturing, okay? She is not someone that expects things to happen right away. She's okay with waiting. She's okay with taking her time. She knows that it takes a certain amount of time for those plants to grow, for those plants to blossom, and for those blossoms to fruit. You know, she knows. And patience is a virtue right now. That's the name of the game. Patience is a virtue. The Jupiter going direct too is going to oppose the Mars retrograde. They're going to work against each other. You know, they are squaring kind of, not technically, but they're squaring signs. And the Jupiter is going to want to go. It's going to want to expand. And the Mars is like, no. There's that fine line that needs to be walked. It's kind of like a tightrope, you know. You can allow for expansion, but on the internal world only. Not just, I'm being extreme, of course. The Six of Cups is the past life connection, you know. It's the resurfacing of things. I forget which sign it was. This card came out first. And, you know, I was in Belgrade recently for about a month, and I was visiting with Alexandra. She and I met a couple times. Alexandra with Alexandra Tarot. If you don't know who she is, please check her out. She's amazing. Still to this day, in my opinion, she's one of the more intuitive readers on YouTube for sure. But I did meet with her, and we talked about the Six of Cups, and we had to laugh because it's like the Six of Cups comes out and we're like, oh, it's like a wonderful energy, and it's good and it's sweet and it's innocent and all this, but it's just like, oh man, again, like we got to deal with this again. An ex is coming back again, you know, or whatever is resurfacing. And dealing with the past life stuff again. But it's such a necessary evil. That's why these things happen so often. It's not like this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, it just is constantly happening. It's constantly forcing growth. It's constantly forcing us to rectify and to break free from karma. Because we can't, I don't know if we can break free from karma all at once, most of us, you know. It's like breaking free from one little thing at a time. And with the Justice card coming out, there is karmic influence here, you know, the scales becoming equal. We don't have anything really going on in Libra right now. We do have Chiron opposing Libra, as Chiron is in Aries, and there is this kind of insatiable desire for balance. There is this insatiable desire for equilibrium. This I often see as the ultimate natural law, the law of the universe. Justice is a card of, I always start my sentences like that and then I stop in the middle. I don't know why I do that. I've been like rewatching. I'm like, I didn't realize I was doing that. Now I'm like annoyed by it when I catch myself doing it. But justice is a card of now I can't even think what I was going to say because I distracted myself. Let me put my coffee down. Hold on. Or my tea down. Let's just pull out more cards. I'm losing my train of thought. Chiron opposing Libra. I don't know. I have no idea what I was going to say. Now we're getting the King of Wands. I think the Leo energy is starting to build up. I don't know why I'm feeling like Cancer season is just such a build-up season. It's such a like climbing higher and higher, kind of getting that potential energy going so that we can rush forward into eclipse season. King of Wands, the Empress, King of Pentacles. Holy cow. The social element, you know, with the Aquarius. Let's not forget the kind of lower level manifestation of Aquarius, which is friends. Friends and networks and people that we're associated with and groups and clubs and all of that. Judgment reversed and the Swords reversed. Clearly, there are so many personalities at play here. Luckily, they're all upright, every single one. Every single one is upright. And we have good people around us, you know. I think many of us watching this video, watching tarot, watching astrology, you have figured out how to surround yourself with only high quality people. That's such a huge blessing. Like when you figure out, like I told you about my trip to Ireland, right? My sickness is definitely like recuperating from that, like for sure. I got here to Montenegro and I slept and I slept and slept. Like I'm still sleeping like so much. The weather was a factor, of course, but I think just it was like a week of not meditating and just being so influenced by other people and being in such closed quarters with other people and being around them, and just was like, it was too much for me because as someone who is very more interested in being isolated and being alone a lot, like it totally wore down my immune system for sure. And I told myself like never again. Never again. I'm never going to put myself in that situation again when I don't have control over the quality of people that I'm with, you know, like if I know who I'm going, and of course, obviously, it's not going to be all the time, you know, you go to the grocery store, you don't have control over that, but I mean more just like in those, for a week-long period of thing, and choosing not to hang out with those people again, just because I didn't realize, you know, I hadn't connected with them in like a year, and I didn't realize that I had grown so much that it was like such a difference, you know, so now I know, now I recognize that. Still good people, you know, still amazing people though, but still just people that are still figuring it out. And for those of you who are here, surrounding yourself with the people who are in line and who are non-judgmental and who are non-materialistic and who are spiritual and who are aware of their consciousness and who do make decisions based on the benefit of the greater good, and who aren't so self-serving, it's going to do us all a world of good. That's kind of like an exponential growth, right? Like you as an apple tree, right? You're an apple tree. An apple tree doesn't just grow another apple tree. Like an apple tree can grow thousands of apple trees. And that's kind of how this world of consciousness is really going to spread, is you are the apple tree, and as you continue to bear fruit constantly, that fruit can continue to fall and plant new seeds, right? So here we have just judgment in reverse and the Ten of Swords. The end is the end is the end. That's like me, right? Putting my foot down, like never again. Never again will we put ourselves there. Now, judgment reversed. There's stuff we can't see right now. You know, there's changes in our lives that aren't coming to fruition. There's information that we don't quite have. And we just kind of have to accept that. And we have to accept that people aren't on our wavelength, you know, and we have to just do our best to educate, but some people don't want to be educated. So, you know, you can't force these opinions on people, because if you do, you're just going to push them further away. You know, people have to inquire, they have to ask, and you can be a resource of information till as long as the day is long, you know. But that's what the Mars and Jupiter kind of balancing act is really going to be about. Jupiter's, okay, you need to make sure your path is more clearly defined. Mars retrograde is like, okay, well, let's define it. Let's figure that out a little bit. Let's figure it out more. Okay. I don't know. All the readings this month are exactly the same. I'm getting to the point now with tarot where I'm like, it's always all just the same. It's just the details that are different, because we are all the same. We are, when we really think about we are all one, what are we doing watching all the different signs? What am I doing? What, you know, doing a reading for each zodiac sign. The energy is all the same. The people are all the same. The details are slightly different, slightly revised, but at the end of the day, we are all a soul. And our souls are the same. I said this in a couple of the signs readings as well. It's, you know, we are not soul. We do not have souls. We are souls. And when you think of your soul as, I don't know, an entity or a ball, a sphere of light, how is my light any different than yours? You know, it's not. It's just light. It's just love. That's all it is. There was a really beautiful little video that, I don't know, Prince EA, I don't know if you pronounce the E, I always say just Prince EA, I don't know, but if you follow him on Facebook or Instagram or something, he just posted a video that was like, showing you all these different kinds of light bulbs, you know, different shapes, different colors, different designs, you know, all these kind of different light bulbs. And when you think of how many light bulbs we have, like there's tons of different light fixtures and things like that. But at the end of the day, the energy that's running through them is all exactly the same, and they're all producing the exact same thing. And while the shell of the light bulb may be different, in their core, in their essence, they are all the same. And that's kind of how I feel now with tarot. It's like I'm just saying the same thing over 12 times to every single sign. I might as well just do one big reading, you know? I don't know. Let's talk about 2019. It starts off, you know, because later this year we're going to have Uranus and Chiron going retrograde, and they're going to revert back to their position. You know, Chiron is going to go back to Pisces, and Uranus is going to go back into Aries. So when we start 2019, they're going to be in those positions. I'm kind of calling 2019 like a do-over year, where we get to do over these kind of major transits, and we get to do it better this time. We understand what it's all about now. We understand how it affects us. And so with that understanding, we can do it again and not feel so stressed out about it, you know? And likely the issues that we were dealing with this year when they made their original transit into the new signs are going to be the same. It's going to be the same things, and the same thoughts and the same emotions that we had are going to be there. But this time you can be like, okay, well, that's because of this transit, and now I know what this is about, and I know that the other side of this isn't really a big deal. And I know that whatever loss is incurred during this time isn't really a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. And so when we, you know, because I mean, look at your life now, you know, look at your life and ask yourself, like, well, when have you not survived? Clearly you're here, you're watching this, clearly you survived. So when have you not survived? Never. You're going to survive. Everyone is going to be surviving. And even in my monthlies, people are so worried about this Mars retrograde. I'm like, chill out. What are you worried about? Like, it's amazing. This is an amazing time to be alive. We have truly chosen to come at a time when the world really needs us the most. And let's do it. You know, let's do what we came here to do. Don't be afraid. Afraid is an illusion. You know, everyone says that. Fear is an illusion. So we need to just kind of just move past it. Don't be afraid. Don't be worried. Don't be afraid of what you're going to do. You're in control of what you're going to do. Don't be afraid of how other people act. You're not in control of how they're going to act, you know? So just one day at a time. That's all you can do. So immediately, right out of the gate, January 1st, Mars comes into Aries. And what a beautiful time. Uranus and Mars in Aries. A lot of fire, earth, and water energy at that time. It's kind of a nice, refreshing break, I think, to be out of the air qualities, because it's going to be more passion-driven, emotional-driven. It's going to be more for the benefit and for the health of the soul. Fire and water kind of are similar in that regard. And we also have earth, of course, with the Capricorn stuff. So we're going to have that, which will be beneficial for us in practical steps forward. It will be beneficial in that it will be productive. And we're not going to be overthinking things. We're not going to be second guessing ourselves. It's just like, yep, this is good for my soul. I'm going to do that. And then you just go do it. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of roadblocks in that regard at all. So at that time too, Uranus will be the only planet in retrograde. So most of the planets moving forward. So remember how the beginning of this year, it was like all these projects, all these things. It was go, 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 go. Same kind of thing, you know, same kind of energy. And again, at that time, Chiron will be in Pisces. Chiron in Pisces is so, it can have a lot of depth to it, and that depth might not necessarily be welcomed by a lot of people, but it's the wounded healer. It's about healing your own spirituality, getting over a lot of the hurdles that you've had in your lifetime that have afflicted you spiritually. You know, if you grew up in an extremely religious environment, if you grew up in, you know, any kind of a dark kind of place, it's time for you to really move on from that, you know, to truly, truly heal and to start working on, the future. I'm not feeling good, guys. My mind is not working super sharp. So as we make our way through January and we move our way into February, end of February, between February 18th and March 6th is when Chiron and Uranus both start moving into their signs. Right now, Chiron back into Aries and Uranus back into Taurus. That's the time of the do-over. So the first few months of our year, it's going to be like, okay, I've been here before, I know what to do. So when we have that kind of quality, when you know what you need to do, it's kind of like when you return back to your hometown and you know what streets to take, you know what stores are where, you know, you're not like a tourist in an unfamiliar city. It's like, you know where the roads go, you know all the stoplights, you know all the directions, you know where the cops hang out, you know where the dark corners are. So you know what to do, you can navigate easily. April 30th is a big deal, okay? This is going to be a transit that hasn't occurred in 28 and a half years, as we have Saturn coming conjunct the South Node. So much emphasis on Capricorn, Saturn, the South Node, and Pluto for the full year from this point forward, because we're going to have that buildup of Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and that's kind of really what the whole year is going to be about. It's about preparation. It's about getting our minds, hearts, and souls truly ready for this monumental change. Saturn conjunct the South Node is truly a pinnacle turning point in our lives. What needs to end will end. You know, I feel like, we're kind of entering into a new paradigm with that. Our entire vision of the world as a collective, as a conscious collective, maybe not everyone else, but as a part of the conscious collective, is truly going to undergo a massive change. And like I said, what needs to end will end. We are leaving behind spiritual childhood. We're leaving our identity behind. And we're starting to identify as, you know, a member of the collective, a one of many. We're starting to adapt more fully this hive mentality, which I think is what the Mars retrograde is about now, is putting our place in that hive. You know, a bee is very willing to sacrifice its own life for the sake and the safety of the hive. And that self-importance gets put into perspective. There's a crystallization of, you know, Saturn, people are always like, really, there's so many negative things about Saturn, but Saturn is without a doubt one of the most important planets because it sort of is that transitory place in the solar system between the inner personality planets and the outer generational planets. And it has a very important job to do to ensure that you individually are moving alongside with the rest of the groups of souls that chose to come in at this time. Saturn doesn't always necessarily have to be so karmic, but when we associate it with the South Node, I'd say that yes, past life stuff definitely is going to come on the docket, and the lessons that are needed will be delved out. And for those of you who are not necessarily in a dark place, this is going to be easy peasy, no problem. And you're just going to say, okay, well, I'm living my life in a good way. I am breaking free from karma. I am kind of making that transition from my past into the future. And there we go. Nothing. Like, it's going to feel like nothing. And you might feel a little emotional or whatever. There may be a challenge that comes your way, but, you know, the more mature you are, it's not even a thing. But Saturn is going to do like a crossover against the node, right? So it goes forward and then it retrogrades back and then it moves forward again. So there's going to be a lot of attention on our past. There's going to be a lot of attention on who we were and some hard lessons to force us forward. People that aren't bendable, maybe that have difficult Saturn in their natal chart, you know, difficult aspects in their natal chart against Saturn, they're not going to handle that well at all. Like children in a grocery store screaming and yelling because their mom won't buy them candy, right? They're gonna lay down and they're gonna throw their energetic temper tantrums. They're going to be projecting things out like crazy because their crystallized life is breaking down and it is being challenged, and they're really, really not gonna like it. It's gonna be more powerful than anything that we're really kind of going through this year, I would say. And that is going to be the pinnacle defining moment that prepares us for Saturn getting ready to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. I could talk about the collective stuff of this, but I'm not really interested in that. I want to keep it on an individual level because it is all the individuals that make up the whole. So let's kind of think about it more like that. Saturn is our protector. You know, he is tinged with destiny. He is the keeper of our destiny, in a way. It is because of him that we attain and achieve our destiny. So he needs to be credited with a lot of the positivity that he brings. He's the teacher that loves you, but also wants to see you succeed. He is a cheerleader. He's just not like the super fun, outgoing cheerleader, right? He's the coach, more or less. The coach, not the cheerleader. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. But the coach wants his student to succeed always. The master always wants to see his student succeed. This will be the new paradigm, all right? The build up to this is going to feel intense, especially for Capricorns and Cancers, especially for Libras and Aries, right? Cardinal signs. Without a doubt, you're going to feel this the most. And please accept responsibility for that, because your soul chose to come to experience this. There was a reason why you're here. This might be the reason why. There are going to be difficult things that come into your life, no doubt. people losing jobs, people's homes getting taken away, people's family members passing away. I mean, it can get really dark. Pluto is a dark energy. You know, Pluto is a destroyer. He truly is the cleaner. You know, the one that comes up and cleans everything out. But Saturn, Pluto, Saturn, the one that crystallizes, is going to crystallize you into a phoenix. He sees the other side of it. He understands the other side of it. And you're going to need to be this phoenix in order to embrace the Pluto entering into Aquarius in 2023, 2024. It's a necessary evil. It's kind of like the last straw, you know? Like this is, just historically speaking, I pulled this up. The last time Pluto was conjunct Saturn in Capricorn was in the year 1518. And this was when Martin Luther, like 2 months after this happened, this was when Martin Luther nailed the 95 Theses onto the door of the church. And this was the beginning of the Protestant Revolution, right? This huge movement against the Catholic Church. And I'm getting chills just even saying that, because when you think of what the Catholic Church is today, metaphorically, you know, we do have the governments, we do have our cultural structures, our societal structures, we have all these structures and all these institutions that we are unwittingly a part of simply by birth. You know, you just happen to be born in the US, so you're kind of immediately by default put into all these different types of institutions. And this is a time when we completely obliterate those influences on our lives. I'm a little bit worried because I have a friend who is a Capricorn, and his sun is at 22 degrees of Capricorn. And Pluto Saturn conjunction is at 22 degrees and 40 something minutes of Capricorn. I'm like, okay, there's going to be some huge stuff for him in his life. I'm a little bit worried about him in terms of whether it's a passing away of his father or losing his business or something, you know, big like that. But again, it's one of those things that will eventually become the best thing that ever happened to you. And you have to go through that pain in order to feel the release. And that's going to be the essence of it. And that's what 2019 is really building up toward. And in running parallel to this, the growth potential of a lot of things, we have Jupiter in Sagittarius at that time. Uranus is going to continue in Taurus, which is all about manifestation. It's all about growth. It's all about, you know, new realms of money and new realms of self-identity and who we are. And Chiron in Aries is going to really heal all the wounds that Uranus in Aries just kind of like I said so many times before, Uranus in Aries sort of completely ripped our sense of self into a million different directions. So here comes the healer coming through and sort of sweeping up the mess that Uranus left behind. We are going to be continually rebuilding ourselves throughout the course of that very long transit, Chiron in Aries. It's something to be looking forward to for sure. And we are going to need to expect jumps and changes with Uranus in Taurus as that continues to happen, especially when it re-enters into Taurus. And we have that sort of second chance to do it differently this time around. The nodes are going to be transitioning into Capricorn, Cancer later this year. So that's going to be a major transition that will help get us ready for all of this as well. And that's pretty much it. You know, I mean, there's a lot to think about, and there's a lot to consider when we're in this current Mars retrograde of how we want the next couple of years to go. if we don't want to be hugely affected on an emotional level, then we really need to understand our egos. We really need to understand our path, our purpose, because if we're really in line with that, no matter what happens, we are our own rock. We are our own sturdy foundation. I get in my mind the Emperor coming out here with the cards, okay? This more Emperor-like quality that we all have the power to exhibit, that is unshakable, you know? And with so much changing, we are going to need to be more unshakable than ever, okay? All right, I have monthlies to do. Here we go. I'm going to work on Sagittarius Capricorn today, so we'll get those out for you guys. Alrighty, I'm going to leave you there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.